What are we taping off? Very minimal shit. Gonna tape off the glass. Gonna tape off your muzzle if you have a suppressor muzzle device, that is. If you've only got an A2 flash hider, don't even fucking worry about it. Tape off the glass to your flashlight if you don't have any sort of protector over it like I do. I like to tape off shit like this, the roll marks, if you've got an NFA item. Since you have to submit those to the ATF, you don't want to give them any sort of ammunition to work with as far as altering those roll marks, whatever. I taped off my CAC battery cap because you got to protect those investments. I also removed my trigger because I don't want any sort of added friction to those trigger pins. They do rotate whenever you're pulling the trigger, so you want to avoid that. Taped over the holes a little bit too. Taped over my serial and all that good shit, but pretty much nothing else. Don't worry about the grips. They're gonna wear. It doesn't matter. Your hands are there anyway, so just paint everything. If it wears off, you spray paint it again. It doesn't matter. And I am going to be using some shit. I'm going to be using some of this laundry bag material, so we'll see how that goes. I haven't used laundry bag shit in probably like almost 10 years now, so oh, I missed a spot right there. Going to tape that up, and then I'm going to paint it, and you'll see me outside painting it from here on. So base coat, I'm using this color. It is Krylon. I've used Rust-Oleum in the past. They're both fine. So it's like a tannish. It's like the same color you see on ACU shit. So it's our light color. It's gonna be very similar to this that you're seeing. But what you want to do, this is your base coat, so you don't have to worry about which direction you're going really. But you want to go really light. About just a little over a foot away. It's gonna look black at first. But you want to keep these coats light. The lighter and thinner your coats are, the better it will adhere. And you don't want any drips, anything like that. And you don't want to just hold the thing down either. You go short little things like this. You kind of want to treat that netting pattern as if it's not really there. And you can see it's starting to look a little tacky right there. I don't know if it's going to come through on the video or not, but that's pretty much as thick as you want to get it at first. You don't want it to get any thicker than that. You don't want to spray it while it's still like getting tacky and thick like that on the same coat. Alright, so we're going to let that dry. Now I'm going in behind it with a little bit of darker brown. It's my last can of precious fucking Airvo. It is that color. So over here you'll in time see my color palette that I'm using. So here I'm gonna do some stripe shits, and you want to do this lightly too. You want to go like, you want about an inch of spray diagonally with the top of this stripe starting up here and angling backwards sort of. So you want to be most forward to the top and further back at the bottom. And you can sort of give it like some mists. A little bit of paint splatter doesn't really matter. It's going to give it a little bit of depth. I like to, while it's still wet, go behind that very, very lightly with your lighter color. And it helps blend it a little bit. Take some of the sharpness off of it. So right now we're 2 colors in. Yep, a little bit more right here. We will let it dry just like that. Now I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of green. I also have that dark brown. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it, because right now, these 2 colors that are on it right now, with just a tad of green will be kind of like a multicam. The green will sort of end up acting as a shadow color, but we'll see. I might end up doing it, but 3 colors is plenty. You can get by with 2 colors if you have to. And this isn't a camo paint. It didn't have the green camo, so this is a matte Spanish moss. If you use anything like this, I recommend going back over it, like that little bit of mist that I did, with a camo paint, just to get rid of any gloss that's left. And you'll see I'm not really doing a whole lot with that. Anything that I hit with that, I'm gonna go back over. I'm actually gonna do darker, the Airvo, but you can see it didn't go on very thick. Just gives it like a little bit of green, but I guess we'll see. The Airvo goes on pretty light, no matter how you do it. So I end up going a little bit thicker with my Airvo sometimes. And so I am gonna hit it with just a little bit of this darker brown. See how that does. Yeah, it looks pretty good. This can kind of sucks though. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back over it with the Airvo a little bit. And what this does is it kind of blends it. You don't want any hard lines. Lines are good, you just want them to be very faint. And then this lighter little mist, this is how it looks right now. I took the mesh off of it, gave me a little bit of like a few hard lines, so I kind of blended them a little bit. Got a little bit more work to do. A little bit of this is artistic, like you kind of got to look at it and say, okay, well, I've got a little bit too much dark brown in this area, like right there. Things you need to blend a little bit. I'm gonna do a little bit of it off camera, and then I'll show you the next step. If you have this is an optional thing, I guess. You're gonna take a torch and you're gonna run it over top. I don't wanna get it close to anything, but what this does is burns off a little bit of the gas that's coming out of this right now. You run this torch over top of the area, you don't want it necessarily directly on it. It's gonna take it and gas it out a little bit faster, which is nice. So we're gonna let that chill for probably 30 minutes and then flip it over and try the other side. I added some after the fact sort of pattern. And it came out actually a lot better. So what I'm gonna do this next side, flip it over, give it that tan base, and then give it some stripes, blend it all together, and then go over it with the laundry net. Okay, I have the other side striped up pretty well now. It's getting kind of harder to see. But what I'm gonna do is that net, I'm gonna hold it on with this hand that's now gloved. I'm gonna spray my dark over top of it, and that's gonna give us a little bit of that pattern to break it up a little bit more. Then you just kind of freeform it. Do whatever makes sense to you, you know, as you're doing this. That's how all this should work. It should all be whatever looks good to you. But I mean, you also want it completely covered. You want everything kind of blended, you know. You can see that there are colors there, but it's kind of hard to tell where one starts and the other begins. Kind of do want these to look busy. Busy confuses the eyes a bit. Now that's not to say that you put it in grass and it's gonna disappear. That's the idea here. You're not gonna be a perfectly invisible ninja, but it's not gonna be a black rifle either, you know?